Ladies and gentlemen, in a world where Kienan Lafferty teaches you how to draw women, join us this Saturday, November 5th, 2011, in an epic saga of magic, mystery, and women. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the KNKL Show, episode 19. I'm your host, Kienan Lafferty, and today we are going to be doing a tutorial on how to draw women. But fear not, normally the task of drawing a female person would be quite daunting and a little bit scary at times. But after years of research and practice drawing a little bit too many anime girls, I have come up with a list of simple guidelines and rules to aid you in your journey. So without further ado, let us get this tutorial started. I will put myself right up here. And here we go. So the first order of business that we need to talk about is why the daily did not go up on Friday. And I can answer that quite simply. By way of saying that a little bit of too much lack of sleep, not enough sleep, and I went to go and record the daily. And when I was reviewing the footage, I just said to myself, I was like, this is terrible. It was like, you can totally tell that I am halfway asleep the whole time I'm doing this, and it just sounds stupid. So I decided that rather than try to stress and get it all done for Friday, I decided I'd just release an update video letting you know it was going to be on Saturday. And hopefully you guys didn't mind that too much. So yes, today we're going to be drawing women. Boobies, legs, butts. Well, maybe not butts. Maybe that'll be another daily in itself. But yes, we are going to be drawing boobies today. Woohoo! Yeah, you guys have been asking me for this for quite a while. And so, yes. Like a good man, I deliver when I am asked upon things. Right. So, the first thing you're going to do, as you saw, we're going to be drawing the head and the neck, which was just like that other tutorial that we did where we were drawing the lady. So what you're going to want to keep in mind is the line here, and the line here, and the line there. And you'll see that that is obviously the proportion of the head. And what you'll do is you move this out to the side, and we'll start to move these down. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I'll just put another one in there for good measure. Because our figure is going to be around 8 heads tall. Just a little bit longer than that. And your proportions are actually going to be the biggest guideline for a woman. And it's really important that you nail these things down because, especially with girls, I mean, like, if it doesn't look right, people aren't going to like it. With guys, you can get away a little bit more with some looser shapes and kind of making them look weird. But with girls, like the longer and more slender they look, generally they'll look a little bit more attractive. So, I mean, depending on what kind of girl you're trying to draw, obviously. I mean, I'm not saying that all of them have to look that way, but you know what I mean. So the first thing you're going to draw is the torso, which is obviously going to come down like this. You know, I'm sure you've seen this before. You draw your line up, and then this line right here, the second head, you go straight across. That is where the center of the boobs are going to go. So you draw a line across like that. And then keep in mind where these shoulders fall, because right from the shoulders, you'll draw a straight line down like that. And that is actually where the hips are going to extend to. The hips on a lady actually are much wider than a guy's. So they'll come out like this. All the way out to that shoulder spot. And it looks like I'm starting that. Usually I try to kick the hips up a little bit because I find myself sometimes placing them a little bit too low. But we'll see what happens with this. So I'm kind of starting them a little above the third head down. So now I'm going to teach you a very simple way to draw boobs. Now whatever you do, do not draw them like this. Boobs are not circles. They are not like that. They do not work that way. The easiest way to think of it as is like a C shape. So like that. And then instead of making a circle, it kind of goes up. Like think of this, it's almost like a heart shape if you were to draw it up to the neck here. And see there, and then it comes down. There's the other boob. And draw it up. There you go. Make sure they're symmetrical. And draw it up. So there you go. See, it's kind of like a heart shape that brings it down. And then you got your boobs right there. So now, the way that you will draw it up into the shoulder is you follow this line, obviously, and then you just kind of connect it like that. Oftentimes, I kind of like to bring this line in just a tiny bit. Makes it look a little nicer. Like that fold of skin. And then erase that guideline on the outside of there, and the outside of there, and erase that one. Let's merge these babies. Alright, so another important thing when you're drawing a girl is the collarbone. Now with guys, the tendons of the neck come down like this, and then the collarbone goes up like that. But with girls, what I like to do is you draw the neckline down, right? And then come from the shoulder and draw a line like that. So it actually goes up a little bit. So you'll go up, down, and like that. That tends to just give them a little bit nicer of a look to their chest overall. It's just kind of the little things. So you'll follow this line down. The third head down is about where the belly button goes. Like that. And then the fourth head down is going to be your crotchal region. So like that. And then from here, right here at the hip, this is about where the pelvis comes out. There's actually a little indentation. And then you follow that down. Bam, right there. Little indentation. Come down to the crotch. Like that. Just erase these guidelines. And the craziest thing about drawing girls is that they really are so much more like meticulous than guys. You got to get everything nearly perfect on them, it seems like. But also the fun thing about it is that with girls, they're less structural, I guess, in a way. Because like with guys, you got to worry about muscles and all these fibers interlocking and all the abs and how they like arrange themselves and everything. But with girls, it's almost more about the flow of their bodies. They're much more dainty and pretty. So see this tiny little curve that goes down the shoulder, and then if you drop your elbow down to your side and you draw a straight line across, you'll notice that the point of it is right above your belly button. So the elbow is going to be right there. Draw that bone out. That's actually like the humerus bone. And you drop it down like that. And then your hand is going to start right about there. So we'll draw it out like that. And we'll just do a little simple hand there. So there you go. And notice, look at this tiny little curve. See how it just kind of flows very simply into it. This is a very easy way. But always think about just those tiny curves representing your muscles when you're drawing a girl. So those things really stick out, even though they seem very, very simple and like they won't be noticed. They really do. They really are. And I'll just put this other arm behind the back, because you already know what the other one looks like, and I want to draw another hand. So there you go. So things are coming along quite smoothly with this lady, this lovely lady. So now we will be moving into the legs. And the easiest way to do this is, remember how I was talking about with the guide, there's a line that you follow, and then that will create the leg. First thing you want to do is kind of draw your lines down, you know, where you want them to be standing. Let's see, where's our ninth head? There's our ninth head. So we'll have the feet right about there. Straight line down, like that. Okay, so the feet are going to be right around there, right? And you draw your straight lines down, right? But the legs do not move in a straight line. There should be flow to them, even. So the easiest way to do that is to remember, from the hip, there's actually a muscle that comes down, like this, like that. And we'll draw in the leg here. And we want to have an overall, like, inward, like, follow, coming in and down to the feet. So you'll draw this here. And then the knee, I'd say the knee looks right about good, right about there. Maybe a little up. So let's see, that is at our 9, 8, 7, 6. Around our 6th head is kind of, I'm going to say that's the middle of the knee. Does that look about right? So there's our knee right there. Now remember, this line comes down here, connects to the knee, and then it goes out like that, and then in. Like that. And don't be afraid to kind of play around, exaggerate it a little bit more than it is even, because it could prove to be quite fun. And then from there, there's another muscle that goes up here, and then the butt, like you can see, it kind of goes back in there. That's kind of the back side of the butt. Same thing over here. Kind of follow that line down. We got the knee there. Like that. Looks about right. So you're about to there. Open up that S shape. There you go. Kind of becomes a little bit of a design. Alright, so we're looking pretty good. Not bad, not bad. She's actually looking like she has a little bit longer legs. But that's okay when you're drawing comics and stuff. Usually you tend to go, usually right around here is, actually that's fairly realistic, I think. I don't know, we'll see how it looks at the end. If we need to, we can use the magic of Photoshop to lasso her legs and make them a little shorter. The important thing is that we're getting the structure here, and that's what I'm trying to teach you. Make sure you always have this cool little line. So the knees are hither. And now I'm going to teach you, again, how to draw the calves. When you draw the calves, remember there's a muscle that comes from here, goes out, and goes in like that. And this muscle starts up here. However, the second muscle on the inside, it more goes like this and down. See, so like, look at how these relate to one another. See, it's almost like this shape comes here, and that shape is there. It's really cool. It's a really cool puzzle piece. And when you draw it to interlock like that, your mind will almost create a line there, and it'll be like, oh, that looks really nice. So always be thinking about that with your legs. And then right here, where this bone meets here, is actually your ankle. Your ankle is right there. So remember, drawing feet, again, this is one of my weak points, so I'm excited to do this. Drawing feet doesn't have to be very scary. It can be fun, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So you draw that circle, right? And then we're going to pretend that she has hooves. So draw this hoof down. See? Like that. Now, add some toes to that hoof. There's a big toe and these ones here. And then you're going to draw your heel in as if it was coming out like this. See, there's your perspective. And then that becomes the arch of the foot. Erase that. And also I'll show you the ellipses here. Like this goes here. This is kind of like that and that. And, oh, actually no. The ellipse is going to be like that and that. If you're drawing some sexy stockings on her, it would be like that. And this ellipse would be like that. Actually, these would be turned down a little bit more. There we go. And then an easy way to draw the knee when I'm rendering it or when I'm drawing it is just kind of follow this line, kind of draw that there, and then draw that, and then I just kind of create a little bit of a cast shadow, like that. It's really, really simple. And then you can kind of play around with it. I mean, knees are always just one of those things that nobody really draws perfectly. It seems like everybody kind of interprets them differently, unless you're drawing like literally from life. Because it seems like there's a lot of little details that go into drawing a proper knee. So I'll just kind of quickly sketch this other one in. Try to make it as symmetrical as possible. And yeah, our hoof, toes, heel. Bam, baby. And that's not a heel on a. That's not a heel for a shoe, mind you. That is the heel of the foot. And yeah, this leg's looking a little bit more muscular than the other one. So let's fix that real quick. And then erase your guidelines, because obviously that bone doesn't show. See? So now let's check this out. So now we have our lady right there. She's actually looking pretty. Her hips are looking quite large. But always remember, the hips always come out. I think it's because her shoulders are actually out further than they should be. Yeah, I think so. So let's see. Her shoulders should really kind of be like right around there. Let's fix that. And the hips will be more like that. There you go, that's a little better. See, look, that's what I'm talking about. See those tiny, tiny little changes make a huge difference in a girl. See, this is looking a little better now. See, the important thing is that you remember that structure. Always remember that structure. And you'll be able to draw girls. And then this line kind of comes down and kind of forms the, this is like the sternum. There's like a little bit of an indent here. And I'll show you this because I'll draw it in like a 3/4 perspective, because that's really important too, when you're, especially when you're drawing the chest. So we'll actually go into that right now. How about that? And then always just erase your guidelines and stuff. They've served their purpose. So there you go. I mean, you draw like whatever pants on her. There's some jeans. Here's a shirt. Or you can just leave her naked. I don't really care. Now we will go into basically the 3/4 view. And that is also very important, because I'll show you an easy way to shade the chest to give it depth. So the first thing you'll be thinking about is obviously your head here, right? Go across there, the middle line, there's your eyes, and there's that. Okay? So you follow this line down to create the neck. And there you go. Shoulder is going to be around there, going down. And always remember, drawing in the little shapes at the beginning really helps a lot, especially when you're doing a perspective like this. So your perspective lines are going to be kind of like this, 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 that. So that's kind of like a quick little grid we've created for ourselves. So you kind of follow this line up, and then this shoulder is going to kind of come to there. Now, think of the back, how these muscles come down like that, and then go down like that. Right? And then draw around, you're going to create this cylinder, right? Alright? That is going to be our chest. Shoulder going down, like that. Okay, now, when you're drawing the boobs from this angle, it's very imperative that you remember this head here. You can't just put your fingers up and take that head and then just go down like there, like, you know, like one head down. You have to think of it more in time and space. So if you were to draw this head down like this, in like a tube, right? There's a tube holding heads, and you drew another head going down like that. This head stacked on top of another one like that. That line is where the boobs are going to go, or the center point anyway. So anyway, just erase all that. Obviously you don't always have to draw the tube with a head in it, but eventually once you get the principle down, you'll be able to just eyeball it. And that is the magic. Okay, so all you're going to do is you think of it as almost in terms of like on a guy's body, like a pec, right? You got the shoulder here, and then you come down into the pec, right? Like that. That indentation is actually what starts the boob. So you'll remember that line. You'll come down, and remember this is our center point. So you'll come down and up, right? Oh, here, let me draw the center line. Make sure you draw the center line on the cylinder for the girl you've created. So you go down and up, and like that. And now, for the second one, whatever you do, do not take this shape and do this. Do not do that. That is, oh man. Oh, that is wrong. If you do that, you will get in trouble. If I see that, I will chastise you and you will never hear the end of it. The way that this works is because there's perspective here, obviously. It wraps around. So the second one is actually going to follow the same line, obviously. And it's going to drop down like this and go up and back like that. And remember how I said, kind of see how this heart goes back up? Kind of follow that same line. So you're going to come up and back like that. And see how you got that little bit of like, it's all about this right here, this underside. The weight that you put there will really make it read as pretty much real or fantasy or fake. So now that you have that, I'll show you a really easy way to shade them. Make them look, just to give you that depth, the proper depth. And there's like a really simple trick that you can do to get that. So I'll create it on the layer behind. So this is all you have to do. Draw the underside shading, obviously. We'll do that. And then you can kind of erase a little bit to kind of create like a bounce light or whatever. But the important part is this. When you go up to shade this, all you got to do is shade this line going up like that. And again, make it very, very subtle. Very, very subtle. Like that. And then, remember the cylinder is still functioning underneath. So if we were to shade that, it would look like that, obviously, right? So you follow this shape up and see the shading, shading. So this part right here, you're going to leave that very much white. A lot of that light will be absorbed there or reflected there in most cases. And that's because there's like this line you still follow up, there's muscles that connect there. And then this side right here, it actually kind of goes back up and it'll reflect a lot of that light back at you. So keep this part very, very light. And then, same thing here. Like it goes light and then there's a little bit of an indentation here for the other breast. So you always want to think of that. That's an easy way to pretty much render that crevasse in the lady's chest. And then, you know, you shade this and that. And actually collapse these. We'll get rid of all these lines so you can see more clearly where the light goes and where it doesn't. And again, like think of this as an exercise in subtlety. You really, like the more subtle, oftentimes, that you render your details and, you know, muscles and boobs and all that stuff, the more subtle that you render that, the better. Like It's just very, very easy suggested detail like this. See the cast shadow there. And then, let's get rid of that. And like this right here. Like, again, that is very, very important. If you do that right, it will look much, much better. And then you get like, see like this little shading under the collarbone. Stuff like that. Just around the edges. So you got that. And now also remember, the center point of these boobies, this one is here, right? However, this one is not here, okay? Again, you do that, you'll get in trouble. None of that. Because of the perspective, this center point is actually almost along the edge, pretty much, if not right on the edge. So remember that. And you will prosper in the land. Now another thing to think about is this little indentation. Remember I was talking about it right here? There's a little indentation where the sternum kind of meets the rib cage and goes down. And the way that you do that is you continue the center line and it goes in. And then remember how I was talking about this muscle right here kind of comes up? It does the same thing right here. And again, subtlety. Subtlety. You go down, remember elbow is right about there, so the belly button's going to be right about there. Follow this line down. Keep that perspective, so if the hip is down here, the other hip is going to be up there. And round that baby out. And bam! That is how you draw boobies, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, with the tutorial out of the way, I will move on to my question to the audience. And my question to you guys is, as of late, it's not really relating to the daily, but pretty soon I'm going to be buying a bike because I want to start getting out a little bit. Now that I'm working using my hand all the time, I can't really afford to keep playing video games, and with a job where I sit down and draw all day, I got to do something where I can get out of the house. So I wanted to start biking. And so my question to you guys was, what activity do you enjoy doing outside? I know this is like this generation is everybody stays inside, everything's online, there's no real reason to get out of the house. But, if it's not now, then what would you like to do? What did you used to do when you were a kid that got you outside? Would you like to explore, hike, scuba dive, snowboard, now that winter's coming? Leave me a comment of what you'd like to do or what you're looking forward to doing this winter. And yeah, I want to see that. I want to get some ideas of cool things to do to get me out of the house. Out of the studio. So with that, guys, thank you very much for waiting till Saturday for me to do this for you. Thank you for bugging me so much to actually draw these over here for you guys. I hope this helped you out. So with that, thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't. I'm Kienan Lafferty, and I will see you guys next time.